officer sharing in her own words what she says was the worst night of her life, being sexually assaulted and held at gunpoint for hours by a convicted killer and rapist inside her workplace.
California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. We want to warn you, some of the details may be difficult to hear. KCRA 3's Michelle Bandura explains what happened.
The lawsuit against the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation outlines the ordeal.
A lot of failed security measures within that institution that night, a lot of them. And it's heartbreaking because it could have easily been prevented, and it wasn't.
The facility houses low and medium security inmates, many who train for the firefighter program. Violent offenders are not supposed to stay there. Jackson's lawyers say Robert Lawrence Ransom Jr. should have never been transferred to Jamestown because of his violent background as a killer and rapist.
The California model failed. That's why we're here. It failed in a horrific manner.
The lawsuit states during the evening count, all inmates were accounted for and said to be secured in their cells. In reality, the document says Ransom was concealed within a laundry cart, and officers inexcusably failed to detect Ransom, declaring the cart clear. Lawyers called this a dereliction of duty. Learning the officer's routines, Ransom disguised himself as an officer, and she mistakenly let him into the control booth.
What ensued after an inmate gained access to a highly restricted area was 4 hours of the most unimaginable horrors. I was strangled, I was held hostage at gunpoint, and I was raped multiple times.
Jackson says she convinced Ransom she would bring in drugs and weapons and convinced him to return to his cell. She says supervisors questioned her for 6 hours before going to the hospital, treating her as a suspect and not a victim. But she hopes the lawsuit will change the culture behind bars.
You are undermined constantly at every corner, and the inmates essentially have more rights and more power than you do as correctional officers.
In Sacramento, Michelle Bandura, KCRA 3 News.
The Tuolumne County attorney also filed 11 felonies against Ransom. He is already serving a life sentence with parole for the Los Angeles County crimes. He's expected in court next month. The CDCR would not comment on the lawsuit.